what I'm going to do today, while we're just kind of making sure that the connection's working well, is I'm going to go ahead and kind of tell you what's going on for my events for February. I have already started mailing out the snail mail, sending happy mail project kits. So if you have already registered, those are on the way to you. If you have not registered, I do have 2 packets left, and they are so cute. All kinds of fun little projects for you to make. And so make sure going ahead, request that registration link. That will close on Sunday, January 31st. My paper blooms, that is my stamp club for February, and it is actually a special stamp club. My friend Stacy Brown, she's a Mary Kay consultant. We're doing something special here in town for Valentine's Day. We would just like to brighten the day for some seniors in an assisted living facility here. And so for every stamp club that is sold, we'll be donating a card and a Mary Kay hand sanitizer. So check that one out. Stampin' Bunko, that registration is open till the 6th of February, and it's a lot of fun. If you've never played Bunko, it's fun to learn, and we play for Stampin' Up! Prizes, and we make 2 projects. So let me show you what we're doing today. We are making an adorable pop-up gift card holder and using the snail mail suite. And it is so much fun. When you open it up, it pops out, and you can either put a little message here, or you can stick your gift card underneath this little band. So I will tell you, the inspiration actually came from one of my team members, Ginger Wilkes. Her business is Purple Patchwork Designs, and she made this adorable, I wouldn't call it adorable, it's beautiful. It's just an amazingly beautiful Christmas card that she made during the holidays. And hers has a little gift box. So I wanted to share hers with you. Hers was the inspiration for today's project. I sat there, I'm studying it, I'm taking my ruler, trying to get measurements to figure out what she did, and I think I got it figured out. So let's go ahead and get started. I will tell you, we are going to be using the Snailed It bundle, which can be found in the January through June catalog. And we're going to use one of the dies and then one of the stamps. But a lot of what we're using today actually comes from the Stitched Be Mine dies. And there's actually a lot more dies in the set. I've just used these dies that I'm going to be talking about today. I have found that these dies, I have used them many times over, much more than I ever thought I would. So let me get some stuff set aside, and then we will get started. Now, the measurements and the supplies that I am using for today's project can be found over on my blog, and it has the supplies I use and the measurements. So you can check that out, and you can make more on your own. So let me get my supplies. What we're going to do is we're going to start off with a piece of Bermuda Bay cardstock that measures 4 1/4 by 11 inches, and I have scored it in half at 5 1/2 inches. So on top of that, I'm taking a piece of the Snail Mail Designer Series paper, the one with a little mushroom print on it, and I'm going to adhere that to the front of my card. And this measures 4 by 5 1/4. We're just going to stick that here on the front. And then what I'm going to do is I have already pre-cut out or die cut out these hearts. Now, the way that the die that I used was the really large heart from the Stitch Be Mine dies, and when you cut it out, it actually cuts out a little scalloped edge and then a solid heart. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to put my scalloped edge on first. All right, let me get this on. Kind of a very narrow band here, so try not to put too much glue. All right, so that's just going to go here on the front of my card. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to take the solid piece, and I'm going to use dimensionals because I want to kind of have it pop up a little bit. And we're just going to put that on the front. And then next what I'm going to do, I'm just going to set that and kind of have it pop up. And we're going to, now what I'm going to do is I have pre-cut out a stitched heart out of the Stitch Be Mine dies, and I'm going to tell you how I got this look. What I did is I took this die right here, And what that does is that, remember, it cuts out just a solid heart, but I wanted it to be stitched. So when I ran it through my die cut machine, I made sure, let me face it the way I would have faced it in my machine. I had my scalloped edge, and then I insert inside of that the stitched element, so that we got a really cute, and hopefully this will show up in the camera, a really cute little stitched pattern on it. So that's how I achieved that. And then what I did is I'm just going to pop this up again with some dimensionals. Lots of die cutting in this. I love die cutting. So much fun. All right, so I'm just going to kind of put that off at a little angle. And then what I did is I used one of the dies from the Snail dies, and I die cut out from the Designer Series paper. I don't know if you have noticed, but in the Snail Mail Designer Series paper, there is a die that matches perfectly with that little snail in the Designer Series paper. Actually, several of these dies will cut out of the Designer Series paper. So always check that out whenever you have dies and Designer Series papers with really cute patterns. A lot of times they will match the Designer Series paper. All right, so we're going to put this on with dimensionals as well. All right, I'm going to kind of put this at an angle. And then now what I'm going to do is I want to add my sentiment. So I'm going to use my black Memento ink pad. Let me get some of this out of the way. I'm kind of starting to run out of room here. And I'm going to stamp the sentiment onto a piece of basic white cardstock. And then I'm going to punch it out with the postage punch. And really that is the only stamping we are doing today. It's just this one sentiment. And let me get my ink out of the way so I don't get ink all over myself and my stamp. I have a tendency to do that. So I'm gonna, again, I am like really using my dimensionals today, letting lots of pop up on this card. So we're just gonna kind of slide that under just to kind of give it some fun look. And then I'm just gonna add a really cute little rhinestone, little red heart. Why did I say rhinestone? I meant heart. We're gonna take one of our resin hearts and we're going to put that onto the little heart that's on this envelope, just to give it a little bit of extra cuteness. All right, so that is the outside. So now what we're gonna do is I'm gonna work with the inside of my card, showing you how to do the pop-up, because that's the fun part, right? So what I do is I'm gonna open my card up, and I am going to take, not that piece, I need this piece. I took a piece of the Heart Designer Series paper print, and this actually measures 4 by 10 3/4 inches, and I have scored it in half at 5 3/8 inches so that it will fold in half. Now I'm going to work one section at a time so that I don't overdo it, and so I'm just going to do the top part first, and I'm going to glue that on to the top inside part of my card. Let me go ahead, I'm going to have to stand up to get this lined up correctly. All right, so we're just going to line that up at the top. Make sure that my score matches the score of the other of my card base. And then now I'm going to adhere the other side. I tried doing it all at one length, and it was just kind of didn't quite work the way I'd like. So I think this method works a little bit better. And then I'm just going to fold that over, and that lined up pretty well. Okay. All right. So now we have this inside. So now what we're going to do is we're going to do the box part, and I'm going to show you how to do that. So what I did is I took another piece of the Designer Series paper from the Snail Mail. This piece though measures 3.5 by 12. And what I did is I scored it. And let me grab my scoreboard real quick. Get that out of the way. Bring that in here. And I did 4 score lines. Scored at 2.5, 5 inches, 7.5, and then again at 10 inches. So I'm going to set that aside. And so I have all these score lines. Now this is very, very important. I want to burnish And of course, I left my tool over across the room, so I'm just gonna use my glue here. Totally will work because we want some really nice crisp lines for our box. You improvise when you have to, right? Okay, so I have my nice crisp score lines. So I have two sections here. I have a wider section and then a more narrow section. What I want to do is I want the narrow section to rest on top. And the reason why is when I have everything put together, it almost looks like it's seamless on the inside. So you can't see where that designer series paper ends when it's all finished. Gives it a nice clean look. All right, so I'm gonna lay this down and we're gonna put that together. Remember, the shorter seam needs to go on the outside because what we're gonna do is we're gonna actually be hiding that and nobody will ever know. So the next thing I'm gonna do is I have a piece of Blushing Bright cardstock that measures 1/2 inch by 7 inches. And I'm gonna start on, let me think about this. I'm gonna start on here's my seam. I'm gonna start on the edge next to the seam. And I'm just gonna put a little bit of glue here just to hold it. I'm gonna lay that down, try to center it the best I can, because this is what's gonna hold our gift card. What I'm gonna do is I'm gonna take it and then I'm gonna fold it and put a little bend or a little crease right there. And I'm gonna fold it again and I'm gonna put another little crease right there. Now I want to adhere this end. This will actually be adhered to the underside, so nobody's gonna see it. All right, so there we have for our gift card. Now what we're gonna do is we're gonna take and we're going to we're gonna glue one side to the bottom and one side to the back of the card. And I'm gonna kind of just do all this in one swoop. Get it all done at one time. All right, ready? So we're gonna line this up. Oops, you know what, let me do this. Line up where my score line is. Get that back to back, and then just press at the back here. And then press down. And then when we're gonna close our card, give it a nice press, and then we got our pop-up. So now what we need to do is just decorate the little pop-up part. So what I did for that is I have cut out another of the red stitched hearts. So I'm gonna pop that up with some dimensionals. And then we're going to add our little mailman guy, this right here. And I had to, this one does not have a die. I was really bummed. I thought this little guy would have a die, but he doesn't. So I just cut him out with my scissors, and then I die cut out the little hello from the designer series paper. So I'm just gonna pop those up with some dimensionals. Let me see where I wanna put him. All right, let's put him there, and then we'll just add his little hello next to him, right behind, like he's speaking. All right, so what I did is I also took from the Stitch Be Mine, I have this little section of hearts. So I ran that through my die cutting machine, and it comes out with this really pretty string, but I don't need this section. Really what I wanted was all of these little hearts that it cuts out for me. So as you can tell, I've already started by putting some of the hearts up here. So I'm gonna finish by adding some more hearts down here at the bottom, just to tie in the color. And I'm just gonna kind of just randomize what I want, the different sizes. I'm going different directions. Oops. There we go. One more little heart right there. Okay, and then like I said, you can either cut out a rectangle or a scalloped rectangle. You can put in a little message there, or you can slip your gift card underneath. And then you got a really cute gift card. That would be so much fun. So I wanted to share with you an ordering promotion that I am doing for 3 days only though. From now until January 31st, I am going to give anybody who places an order of $35 or more with this host code, and only this host code would apply. I will mail you this gift. I will mail you this little pop-up gift card holder, as well as send you an email with the February Sweet Stampin' Friends tutorial. So go over to my blog, check that out, and I would love to send you some happy mail. I did want to show you another. I had shown you Ginger's card using this pop-up technique, and I wanted to show you another card that I made with this technique that I thought was really pretty. So I made this one again using the Stitch Be Mine dies, and I made a really pretty card. I like this card. And you could switch it out. This one is for Valentine's, but you could easily switch out the sentiment and make it a beautiful wedding card. So guys, I hope that you enjoyed today's project. I love this snail mail suite. I hope you will make one of these pop-up cards yourself. If you do, share it with me. Post a picture of it for me. So guys, next week is switching things up a little bit. It will be the first Thursday of the month, which means I'm gonna do some mystery stamping. So stay tuned. The day before, I do post the measurements so you can get your supplies ready and stamp along with me. So guys, I will see you next Thursday, and I hope you have a wonderfully blessed weekend. Bye guys.